Welcome back, everyone. I was just saying welcome back to everyone apart from you guys. They're still at the bar, yeah? Don't mind. We can wait. Make yourself comfortable, yeah? Have to find something to talk about while you're doing that, yeah? So you guys, you all friends all together? Is it couple? Yeah, all of you together now? You do. So you're together now, but you weren't before? I didn't know it was that kind of night, to be fair, but all right, fair enough. So is that the dividing person that's still at the bar or the toilet? That's your husband? Yeah. Give us a wave, husband. No? Sorry. I don't mind. Wait. How did you two first meet then? Were you at the bar waiting for him to get served?
No, we met on New Year's Eve.
Well, all right, New Year's Eve. No, right, that cuts it down a little bit. Which year?
2013.
So what, like 2 years ago? That's how time works, yeah? 9 years ago. Oh, congratulations on that. Is he always that slow getting back into the room after he's been to the bar? Oh, okay. We've got another chance. We've got another break coming shortly, yeah? Okay, we'll leave that alone, won't we? You still didn't feel like coming and sitting down at front, did you? No? Still waiting for one coming back, aren't we? Yeah? But you're effectively the first row now, so we're going to have to wait so you don't disturb anyone else. So, yeah. I'm not going to chat to you again, am I? Really, yeah? You've had your chance. So, I'm guessing you're together, yeah? 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 The empty seat, not you and an empty seat together. It's not one of them weird kind of things, is it? No? Yeah, you can... All right. When he comes back, you pretend not to know him. I don't blame you. How long do you reckon it's going to be? This take a long time, this, isn't it, yeah? I said 10 minutes, 20 minutes ago. Yeah, not a minute, though, no? Oh. No? So just crack on instead. It's going to be more uncomfortable coming back into a room full of people that are listening to someone actually speak that's not talking bollocks like me, yeah? Yeah, we'll carry on with that then, shall we? That's awesome, isn't it? Have you noticed this time, so I don't get the name wrong, they've already put up on the screen? Yeah? Well done. Try that next time for everybody. So, can we get a round of applause for your next speaker? We'll start with this side, yeah? You want to start clapping here, yeah? Yeah? And then, yeah, and everyone, keep that going. Give it up for Alex McLean!
Thanks very much. Yeah, I'm Alex. I'm going to be talking about live coding and Algorave. It's a really lovely talk from Jonathan about the scissors earlier, and we were having a bit of a chat trying to work out what the connection between scissors and live coding is, and it's quite hard actually. I definitely spend a lot of time hunched over coding, but I think there's something else which might come through. I think there's something about the motivation behind what we're doing, about trying to make something that is human on the human scale, and something about sharing and developing practice. So maybe that'll come through, we'll see. So this is what I like to spend a lot of time doing, working on my laptop while typing, while with audience who are listening to what I'm typing, which is code that makes music. And that's mainly what I'm going to be talking about. Other things, I'm part of an organisation called Then Try This. There's just 3 of us. That's Dave and Amber. They are based in Cornwall and I'm based here in Sheffield. We do things like make hand-woven robots that do maypole dancing. And there's this kind of connection between what I do with my computer and what I do with this kind of thing, which is learning how to braid on the Japanese Takadai loom. I also made a loom which was codable. That's another story. So there's this connection, kind of ancient connection really, between craft and computing that I'm going to try and get across while also introducing live coding and Algorave. So this is what happens if you search on Google Images for coding. It's people typing away. It's kind of impenetrable text. It's usually one person looking quite intently at their laptop. Quite often it's blue, it's quite cold. sort of quite, yeah, and coding is kind of quite a lonely occupation. It's something that I have been completely obsessed with my whole life, more or less. But it is quite lonely, and so I've always been motivated to find ways of taking this quite new practice. It's only been around sort of 60, 70 years compared to scissor making, which I think is maybe 3,000, 4,000 years old. And it feels like really ungrounded. It's something which is really fascinating, being in this world of language. But it's also feels like it's developed so fast we don't really have a cultural meaning for it. And this is maybe something that live coding is trying to do. So this is what live coding looks like. This is my friends Shelley and Joanne at a festival near Manchester called Blue Dot. They performed as Algorave. They don't anymore, this bit. But this is what it looks like. You have them performing on stage. You can see their screens. It's projected behind them. And there's an audience of people listening to what they're doing. So it's like the opposite of what we saw here. It's much more shared. It's kind of a live experience. They're not making a product. They're very connected with what they're making. They're making sound. They're making music that's coming out of these huge stacks of speakers. And they're sharing it immediately with the people around them. And at the end of the performance, they probably delete all their code because the code isn't there to make something apart from the live experience. And so I've been doing this since around the year 2000, but then about 11 years ago, I think, we came up with this idea of calling it Algorave. And that's really where it started to have more kind of cultural significance. Like, we started doing this in London and Sheffield, but now it's happened sort of all around the world. I think this is a little bit out of date, but you can see that this is, there's lots of cities all around the world, like I think about 100 or so, that have put on these Algoraves since. And this is me and my friend Sam playing at the same festival, Blue Dot. Let's find an interesting bit. I don't know, what's this? So there's me and my friend Sam. I'm typing furiously while he's working on a drum machine. So yeah, this is kind of the Algorave style, making techno, obviously. So you have this audience dancing while you're writing code in front of them, making it up as you go along. It's really improvised. I'm typing, but I don't know what's necessary is going to happen when I make a change. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. There's also my friend Dan Het, who's writing code to make visuals as well. So it's not just about making music, you can live code anything really. And it's hard to really explain what this feels like because when you're coding, it's very focused. You're really kind of in the zone, in a sort of state of flow, working with these abstract symbols. But at the same time, you have the very physical response of the sound system. And the people moving in front of you. So it's kind of like a full body experience, but kind of focused on these really abstract symbols. I encourage you to try it out, it's fun. Okay. So, yeah, I've kind of said, this is what it looks like, this is what it sounds like. But it's a bit like saying, yeah, music's just about hitting a drum and people moving. But what does it really mean? And I guess that's quite a hard question. People don't really know what music is, what function it really has in, and why we do it everywhere. It's a very strange thing that we do, really. But here, yeah, so here's Alex Cardenas working on stage, manipulating these symbols. How does that correspond to what you hear? I guess it depends on the live coder, how they work. I think Alexandra is working with synthesis here. But for me, well, let's carry on with the slides, see if they tell us what live coding means. I guess one thing is kind of collaboration. It's like a way of working together with friends. That's kind of what music is about. It's sort of entrainment. It's sort of connecting with people, resonating with them. And you can do that with code as well. So this is my friend Lizzie, Antonio, and Lucy, also known as Digital Cells, Hello Cat Food, and Heavy Lifting. And we're making music together by typing on stage. So yeah, I guess it's about connecting with people through code. This is a very different collaboration with my friend Kate Sikio, who used to live in Sheffield, now lives in Richmond in the States. And so we collaborate not to make music, but to make choreography. So we're actually live coding dance. Here we're, yeah, there's Kate in Richmond, and there's a little robot that we're writing code to manipulate. She's got a robot there in Richmond as well, so that we can have them moving in both places. We also, yeah, I mean, Kate's got a long career of working in this area of algorithmic choreography with humans as well, so it isn't necessarily just about computers live coding, strangely enough. This is another kind of live coding, not necessarily called live coding, but it's this lovely lab in Oakland in the States called Dynamic Land. Lucky to work with them, and they're really looking at how we can use code to collaborate around all kinds of things. I won't go into too much detail, but this is really, really sci-fi, kind of the future, I think, for coding, where it's not just about working individually on solving engineering problems, but using code as a space to think together, to sort of work through these problems that we have. Yeah, so coming back to what is live coding, I mean, here I'm live coding with my friend Paul Hessian, who's a drummer. How can we actually work together when I'm working with these strange abstract symbols and he's working, well, different kind of symbols. It feels almost impossible. And actually, when I started doing this kind of thing, around 2002-03, I started live coding. It was impossible, actually. It would take me minutes to make a sound, whereas someone like Paul can just hit a drum. And so trying to improvise with something as unwieldy as a programming language was just not really very possible at all. But it's still something that I felt compelled to explore. It's like such a ridiculous idea, writing code to make live music, improvised music, that I was just, yeah, addicted to the idea, even though it felt impossible. And I think what really unlocked live coding as a possibility for me was connecting it with heritage crafts. So this is a tiling pattern from Morocco. So this is sort of Islamic geometrical, symmetrical pattern, very mathematical, all kinds of symmetries going on in these kind of patterns. This at the top is a juggling pattern. So juggling is actually a very mathematical performing art, I guess you could call it, just with a few numbers, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 repeated, you get this complex juggling pattern. And yeah, jugglers are always innovating, finding new patterns. And also weaving, of course, is famously very mathematical. Based on kind of these computational interference patterns between warp and weft, with Annie Albers being a kind of recent celebrated weaver, but again, this is sort of a practice that's been going back thousands of years. So these are all very mathematical, very kind of digital craft art forms based on discrete numbers, exploring all kinds of patterns around symmetry, interference, repetition, glitch, this kind of thing. And actually, the word pattern is really means the same as the word algorithm. So when I talk about algorithmic music, I'm really talking about pattern music. And so much music is about patterns. You can kind of see that just by using this abstract code, it looks kind of cutting edge and futuristic, but really it has possibility of grounding it in these ancient crafts, which is what I'm really interested in doing. And actually we have something called Pattern Club in Sheffield. It's been going since late last year. These just like monthly free events where you can come along and explore a different kind of pattern. And we try and kind of break down the kind of difference between computer patterns like coding and embroidery pattern. We had a local artist, Tony Buckby, coming to show us sort of 17th century blackwork patterns. I also did a workshop on Japanese braiding. And so it's nice to kind of bring together these different kinds of patterny crafts and sort of break down the sort of barrier between coding and craft. See if we can find new cultural meaning by bridging these worlds. So yeah, check that out if you're interested. Okay, so I'm coming towards the sort of demo part of this talk. So I'll need to type, so I'll make use of this bit of technology. There we go. Great. So yeah, Tidal Cycles is a bit of software that I've developed over the last, I don't know, probably 10 or 12 years or something. I think longer, probably 15. It's free software. You can go to tidalcycles.org and try it out. It's completely based on the idea of patterns, as I'll show you. But recently we've made a brand new version of it, which is called Strudel. It completely runs in the web browser, so you can just go to strudel.tidalcycles.org. I'll show you the URL later to try it out immediately. And we also run workshops in Sheffield as part of Pattern Club if you want to come and join us to try it. I should say Pattern Club I run and started with my friends Lucy, who you saw earlier, and Ray. Shout out to them. Okay, so Strudel. Let's see what it looks like. That's some code I was working on earlier. Let's get rid of that. Okay, I need my glasses. Would it be possible to have a glass of water, actually? Okay, thank you. Right, so as I say, this is all about patterns. So let's start with a drumming pattern. Thank you very much. So Gretsch is a kind of drum kit. So here I can type in some numbers for different drums on the drum kit. So let's just start with that. Okay, so that's quite simple. So when you see something in double quotes, this is called the mini notation. It's like a little language for describing rhythms. So there's various things I can do, like so I've just used these square brackets and this little thing, this tilde, to add a little gap to sort of push that 0 into that beat to create a little offset. So I can then make that a bit more complex by making something called a polymeter. that's kind of given me a sequence to start with, and I can then start to manipulate that in different ways. So I could, for example, create a simple interference pattern by saying maybe reverse that pattern. Let's just start with the reverse. Something simple. So you can now see that's kind of going backwards. But I could do that, but just in one speaker. Just adjusted the pitch of the sounds, so hear them a bit better maybe. And I could also do things like chunk that into 4 bits and then make those, each chunk go twice as fast. That sounds quite nice. So already it's starting to sound quite complex. I could keep going, but maybe I'll leave it like that. But basically I started with this simple sequence and then added a couple of functions to manipulate this. So this is something I do during a live performance. If I was collaborating, I'd listen to what my collaborator was doing, whether they were playing drums or live coding as well, and responding to that, or either just respond if I'm working solo, just working with the code, kind of trying things out, seeing what they sound like, adjusting them and sort of guiding the music, and hopefully getting people to dance. So that's a rhythm. I'll try now making a tune. So let's start with a harp, maybe. So now I've got to work with musical notes. So let's try. Down a bit. So I can add a bit of a rhythm to these notes with something called a Euclidean rhythm, which just allows me to make a rhythm out of 2 numbers. Thanks, Euclid, for coming up with this algorithm. So here I've said 3/8, so it takes 8 beats and makes 3 notes over those 8 beats, making a simple rhythm. So you can kind of see simple tune it's making. So I'll add a layer on top of that. So I think. So what this is going to do with this off function, offset by 1/8, 0.125, 1/8 of a repetition. It will add 12 to the notes. There's 12 notes in the scale, so that will just go up an octave, but offset. No, I got that wrong. I need to do that as well. I'll do that again with some different numbers happening, patterned. Got it wrong again. Try and add them together. Thank you. Thanks. Bit of a practice like that. Get involved, come to the Pattern Club if you're interested, or try out these bits of free software, join the online community, or to find out more about my research project around patterns, have a look at algorithmicpattern.org. Yeah. Feel free to take a photo of that, yeah. Would anyone have any questions, or should we go to the bar again? Go on.
What sort of experience of music did you have before you were doing this? It seems like you need quite a deep understanding of music.
Yeah, almost nothing. I've come at this as a programmer, really. Learned a lot. So I took a research degree at Goldsmiths in London, where I had lots of time to kind of read about music and so on. But really, it's developed through practice. So I'm mainly interested in rhythm. I can play with these tunes a little bit. But yeah, I guess my main sort of experience with music was sort of listening to other algorithmic musicians like Ortecker, that kind of thing. Just learned it through practice. I think now most live coders come at this from musicians wanting to explore new territory. But yeah, there's still quite a lot of people like me who don't have any music background. So yeah. Here's one at the back. Oh, next Algorave. We've got one, I think, if you do go to Sheffield Pattern Club, I could just click on that link now. Yeah, there's a Pattern Club live event, which will include some algorithmic choreography. There's Kate, I think that's but also some Algorave artists as well, so it'll be like mix between acoustic, pattern-y music. It'll be like a night of pattern-based music, some physical instruments, some dance as well, but then going into Algorave towards the end of the night. That's the next one. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Ah, okay. Collaboration slide, which one? Was there? Well done. Yeah. Yeah, I'm working with this system. It's basically all based on paper, like it's kind of this augmented reality thing where you put down a piece of paper and it kind of comes alive and you can live code the code that's visualizing something or interacting with another bit of paper, and it involves a lot of printing out and cutting bits of paper. So yeah, thanks for that. Dynamicland.org to find out more about that, I think. I think that looks like it. So yeah, feel free to come up to me if you have any more questions. Yeah, thanks.
That's Alex McLean, everyone. Come on. Proper round of applause for Alex. Yes, there. I'm going to be honest now. Listening to that, you've just given me £1 million idea, right? Bear with me a second, right? I don't think anyone else has ever thought of doing this before, right? But what if we used an X Factory on Kelham Island to put a dance music event on? It's never been done before that, has it, no? I'll speak to you in this break, yeah? Me and you, yeah? We'll go for, yeah? It's not going to work, is it, no? So, yeah, literally, we're going to go have a break now. So, we've got 20-minute break coming up. So, I'm going to put you in charge of the clock on this one now, yeah? So, what time? I've got 8:20. Is that right? Oh, preciseness, right? So, go on then. What time have we got to be back? Yeah? Smart ass. 8:37, apparently, you've all got to be back. If you're not, yeah, I'm going to set this guy on you, yeah? Because apparently, normally, so good at timing. So, yeah, thanks for that so far. We'll see you in 20 minutes' time. Thank you.